Stephen Pearl named the head coach of the Auburn Tigers. No head coaching experience. We'll get into that in a little bit, but Bruce Pearl stepping down after 11 seasons on the Plains. I know you've been a big basketball supporter. You've been a big basketball fan. You followed this program like probably few have. Your memories, your thoughts on Bruce Pearl and what he's done on the Plains in 11 seasons.
Well, all you got to know is that before Bruce Pearl, they weren't selling out tickets, even in Neville Arena. Once Bruce Pearl got here and he started getting some recruits and started putting his feet in the ground, you couldn't get a ticket. It's the hottest ticket in SEC, possibly around the country, to come to Neville Arena and watch an Auburn basketball game. Great memories. Obviously, two Final Fours. I remember him making an SEC run with a depleted roster, making it to the championship game, I believe, of the SEC championship tournament, with 4 or 5 days in a row of playing with a limited roster, and then building what we have now, which is what we think we are, a blue blood all of a sudden. Now we're constantly in the mix for an SEC championship. We're constantly in the mix for a top 2 or 3 seed in the big tournament. In two Final Fours within 5, 6 years. I mean, he has turned this less basketball program that was in the middle of bad times into a powerhouse. I mean, Auburn basketball over Auburn football is what so many folks have talked about the last few years. I mean, who would have ever have thought that?
And many people have speculated about Stephen Pearl becoming the head coach and following his dad at Auburn. It's not really a big secret. But to hear Stephen talk at the press conference, you would think he was in shock when he heard the news on Sunday. And then, oddly enough, right after Bruce Pearl told John Cohen that he wasn't coming back, right after that, Cohen gives the job to Stephen Pearl. It didn't take a lot of conversation there.
No, it didn't. And on top of that, he got a 5-year contract. It wasn't like an interim, let's give him a 1, 2 year deal. He's got a 5-year contract. So I think this has been in the motion for a couple months, possibly.
Months, yeah.
And of course, Stephen, he's already in his coach talk. It was a surprise to him that his dad was going to retire. He's already talking to the media the way he needs to. But once again, big shoes to fill. He's been a part of this program with his dad for quite a while. I know his knowledge is pretty deep. But the biggest thing Bruce did, we talked about memories, is he would go on campus and get in water tanks and let students throw things at him to get dunked in the water. He would do the midnight study sessions during finals and show up with pizzas and donuts. And then anytime we had a late night game where they were camping out, the students in Pearlville, him and the players would go out there and give, once again, donuts or pizza. He was a man of the people. And that's what so many people could relate to him, because he was always out. He wasn't hiding in his house. He wasn't hiding in the Lake Martin house he has. He was out there amongst the college kids. He knew what he needed to do to be a part of this community, and he doesn't want to leave. He loves it here now. But can Stephen do some of those things to keep those big time recruits coming and to be involved with the community of Auburn and carry on the tradition that his dad has set the standard for?
Yeah, it's been an up and down week for football news. The big news coming midweek this week was Horatio Fields at practice, I think on Tuesday of this week, unfortunately, broke his foot. We've got one of the best receiving corps in the country, they tell us. But that's a big loss for this weekend at Texas A&M.
Yeah, I mean, he's been part of the offense, a heavy part of the offense this year for us. He had that third down catch against Baylor to keep a drive going, to help win that game. And yes, we have been touted as having one of, if not the best wide receiver group in the country room. Well, who's going to step up? It's going to be Perry Thompson. Who's it going to be? The guy Mobile you mentioned earlier. We're going to need some. We saw what Cam could do last weekend in Oklahoma, but we need some other guys, and Singleton as well, to step up. We got sacked 10 times against Oklahoma. Some of that was O-line. Some of that was Jackson Arnold holding on to the ball too long. But why not just throw it up to Cam or these other guys as much as we can while establishing the run somewhat, to make things happen. But it's going to be a big loss for Auburn, I think. But if we are the best wide receiver room in the country, other guys can hopefully step up.
Football, yeah. A&M this weekend, I think, again, like last week, they're about a touchdown favorite over us on the road. What do you think Auburn will come out and do without Horatio Fields this week? Coach Hugh Freeze mentioned after last week that as far as the sacks, we had 10 of them last week. He said about half were due to the offensive line and half were due to Jackson Arnold holding the ball a little bit too long, not having that confidence in his receivers. So, do we try to establish the run against A&M this week? You think?
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. On the road, it's a great thing to establish a run. Take the crowd out of the game, make them get bored because we're going on an 8, 9 minute drive or 7 minute drive, whatever it might be. But yes, if you're taking 10 sacks against Oklahoma, and the coach even said it himself, half of that's on Jackson Arnold, half of that's on the O line. Why not try to establish the run, and then offensively, if we're not doing the run, do some quick slants, do some quick passes, get rid of that ball. You can't hold on to that ball, Jackson. Obviously, the scramble is an option for him too, but it didn't work against Oklahoma that well. We've got to do some things to get rid of that ball quicker. And we had a good run game against Oklahoma. We just didn't go to it enough. I think we need to keep grinding, keep pounding that rock, and maybe that'll open up the play action. And worst come to worst, just throw it up to Cam Coleman 3 or 4 times in a row. He's going to catch it. He's going to draw a DPI. Something good will happen, whether he's double covered or not, when you throw it his way.
We had a couple of those we missed last week, which could have been big, big plays for us. And finally, when we got in the red zone, we did throw it up to Cam Coleman. And what happened?
He scored.
He caught it for a touchdown, right? So
whoa, who knew?
We've got to do that more often in the next few weeks and the rest of this season. But you mentioned
feed that guy, like you said, we got to feed that guy. He is our number one guy. He's the one we're paying the most money to in the NIL. Find him, throw it his way, get it up high. He will make something happen.
Yeah, and I think you got to do that. Exactly what you're saying, like we've been talking about. Get Cam Coleman the football, and then once you do that, I don't know how many times I've seen Eric Singleton at Georgia Tech. You got to get him down the field, not these hitch patterns. That's fine once in a while, but he is a fantastic receiver down the field also, and I think we've got to get him down the field and make some big plays like Cam.